Edmonton will host Canadian rock royalty next month. Burton Cummings is playing Fan Park at Ice District on June 21st. He was the lead singer and songwriter for the Guess Who, the first Canadian band to hit #1 on the Billboard charts and to go platinum in the U.S. And that, of course, followed by a decades-long successful solo career. He joins us now. Thanks for being here, Burton.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Very kind words. Thank you.
All true. You've no doubt seen every corner of this country many times. How's Edmonton treated you over the years? Could you begin to guess how many times you've played here?
I'm trying to remember when we first came there. Oh, in the 60s. Yeah, back in the 1960s. But now I'm a little older, and decades, thousands of concerts. It's hard to remember specific events, but I've been coming to Edmonton for decades now. I think the first show there we did was either 1966 or 67. And I'll tell you an interesting story. I think it was Edmonton, way back in the 60s, when there was Dino, Desi, and Billy. Dean Martin's son, Desi Arnaz Jr., and Billy Hinchy. And we were asked to open for them. They were coming up to Canada, and we did Edmonton and Calgary, I think, as their opening act. And I was so jealous because I was 18 at the time, and these guys were way younger than that. And I thought, oh, just to have a hit record, and these guys are way younger than me, and they've got gold records already. So I do remember that from about 1966 or 67 in Edmonton.
All right. You often talk about the longevity, 50 years, more than 50 years of material you have, Burton. I've always wondered, what do you attribute that longevity to? And also, what's it like being a rock star?
Well, the longevity, I believe, was because I grew up in Winnipeg and the radio was tremendous. There were 3 stations, AM, and one of them was 50,000 watts clear channel. It was powerful. CKY, CKRC, and CJOB. And all 3 of these were AM stations playing pop music. So all 3 of the stations were competing for the audience, and they were on their top, they were on their top shoes all the time. And I think because Randy Bachman and I grew up listening to all that different stuff, the radio in Winnipeg was tremendous. Winnipeg was the center of rock and roll music in the early 60s to late 60s, I think. And I was just lucky to be hearing all that stuff. That crept into our songwriting for sure. Now, the other thing you said, what's it like being a rock star? I don't think of myself as a rock star. That's kind of a cliche phrase. Like now, there's this stupid commercial with it's for an insurance company, and Paul Stanley from Kiss is in there saying, "No, I'm a rock star. You business people aren't rock stars." It's all silly, That's just based on ridiculous phrases that we've overused. I think what it is, I've always wanted to cut records. I've always been fascinated by music. And I'm very proud to be a recording artist. I don't think of the word star too much. I think more of myself as a recording artist that has been incredibly lucky.
You have so much material to draw from. When you're assembling a set list, when you're planning a show, how do you assemble a show with that much material and make everybody happy? Do you try?
Well, we try to keep the pacing as such that, here's the thing, I try and put myself in the position of someone sitting in the audience, and what would I like to hear, and how would I like the show to progress, and what would the pacing be if I had my choices. And really, we do all the big famous songs. But we're doing a lot of stuff from my new album too, A Few Good Moments. And You know, we do some of the best stuff that's live, the best live songs from my solo album, stuff like My Own Way to Rock. Always, it's always a killer on stage live. And Break It to Them Gently. You know, that song has been played more in Canada than any of the others, more than These Eyes or American Woman or Share the Land or that song's been played more than any of them. So Break It to Them Gently is always a crowd pleaser. And when we get to what we call the home stretch of our show, it's pretty powerful because we go from American Woman into No Sugar Tonight, New Mother Nature, into Share the Land and No Time, and all these big records in a row. And I think it's fairly satisfying for the crowds that have followed our records.
All right, Burton, we are out of time. We are definitely looking forward to that show, June the 21st, with your co-headliner, Tom Cochrane. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks very much for having me, and we look forward to it. This is going to be terrific. Thank you.